Ended that way.
No, yes, but Ayana wasn't there. And she was asking me, is there a recording? And I didn't have it because we forgot to record. Yes. No, yes, but Ayana wasn't there. She was asked. So, okay. That echo came from the recording, the current recording. So let's go into today's class. We'll finish this presentation and this week, and then go into the verses of Bhagavad Gita next week. Last week, if you remember, or to be correct, last week there was in class. The week before last, when we discussed the different scriptures about the Shruti, Smriti, Nyaya, and we discussed about the four Vedas, the Upanishads, the Vedanta, and we then discussed about the the four different Vaishnava sampradayas, and then we discussed about the impersonal or Mayavada sampradaya, and we discussed how the Vaishnava sampradayas are the topmost because they worship the Supreme Lord as a person, not as energy or light, as the Mayavadis do. They say everything is God, everybody is God. So that is the wrong understanding, or that's an imperfect understanding. That's incomplete, because the God, Lord, the absolute truth, is present as Brahma Jyoti, and yeah, if one aspires to be merged with the Lord, the Sayujya Mukti is available, but it is not the topmost. Being in having a relationship with the Supreme Personality of Godhead, being in His pastimes, being in His world, is a higher liberation that one can get than merging. And we discussed about all that. Um, and then we discussed how this material world is a reflection of the spiritual world. So just like the real, if a real tree is present, and if you look at the shadow of the tree in the lake, you'll see that the branch is above, um, the root comes first, and then branches, and then the leaves. So it's kind of an inverted model of the real thing. So it looks like this material world is like the shadow of of the spiritual world, and everybody is going after the shadow. But nothing substantial can happen if you do anything in the shadow. It's just temporary, and you don't get the result. You think you are going to get it, but you don't. And that's the nature of the material world. So we discussed about that inverted reflection. uh, And like the leaves are compared to the Vedic hymns, the twigs are the sense objects, the tips of the branches are the senses, the root, the the real root is growing upwards, secondary roots growing downwards is the Bhuloka, and then attachments and aversions is a feature of the material world. And everybody is doing fruitive activities. They're doing something to get good results. Sometimes they get good results, sometimes they get bad results. If they get good results, they're happy. If they get bad results, they're sad. So the duality is the nature of this material world. Everybody is having happiness or sorrows. This is not the real happiness. True happiness, there is no temporary nature. It is permanent, and everybody is happy in the spiritual world, because every word is a song, and every step is a dance, and everybody is always happy. There is no ifs and buts, because everybody in the material world, they, they might have a lot of money, but they're separated. Their family is separated. They're sad because their wife left them. They have something. There's always something wrong. We learned from Chitraketu Maharaj. He he was he would had so much. land and kingdom and opulence, but he didn't have a child. So there's always a but in the material world. And it is, uh, nobody can be perfect in this material world. Even though they try, there's always a if or a but about it. Uh, and there is no perfection, there is no true happiness in this material world. And we will be learning that the Lord Himself says that this earth is a dukkalayam, where it is full of sorrow. And if you are in Vaikunta, then there is no sorrow. So this is Kunda, and then spiritual world is Vaikunta. There's no sorrow. So we discussed all that. So let's start today's class. And that is actually talking about the spiritual world, where we can perform activities that is called our Sanatana Dharma, and we are fully engaged in our true nature, because we are not in a temporary body, and we are not doing everything for the body in the spiritual world. We have our spiritual body, which is eternal. And what does eternal mean? Eternal means there's no beginning or end. So we are doing things that are true to us, what we really want to do. Just like water can be wet, it's a liquid. That's the nature of water, and nature of sugar is it's sweet. So similarly, our true nature is we are the servants of the Lord, and we are supposed to do loving service to the Lord, and that brings us happiness. So that's what we are doing in the spiritual world. And how can one attain the spiritual world? By understanding that they are not this body. So everybody we meet in school or at work or in the playground, they're all thinking they are this body, and everybody is thinking, oh, what can I do to make my body happier? What can I do to enjoy more and more this body? But if they understand they're not this body, then you understand that there's no point wasting so much time for the body. Now you have to take care of the body, because it's like a temple where the true self resides. So you have to take care of the body, but you should not be, 100% of the time thinking about the body. It's like a person cleaning the cage of a parrot. Every day he shines the cage so that it'll shine, but the parrot inside, he doesn't feed. So the parrot ultimately, without food or water, the parrot dies. Similarly, our soul is not getting nourished when we are only thinking about the body. So, so, so we got to understand that all these designation we have, like I'm a boy, I'm a girl, I'm an Indian, I'm an American, all these are designations of the body. And if you think about most people in this world, most of the news channels, everything is covering about the body. There's only very, very few persons who are discussing about the soul. And that's why we are discussing it here 1 hour every week, discussing and thinking about our true self and nourishing our soul, and not just thinking about our body, and that we are doing most of the time. Most of the people, they think they are their identity is I'm I'm an engineer, so I'm going to go to work and I'm going to just think about the software programs that needs to be written to solve a problem. And if I'm only thinking about that and I'm attached, oh, when am I going to get my promotion? Oh, when am I going to uh, get a higher pay? And then when I don't get that, I get angry. And then if I get some bonus, I want to spend it on my body and enjoy nice food. So lust, desire, all that is what I'm focused on if I'm always thinking I'm this designation of an engineer, right? So these designations and this identity crisis is the cause of all the problems. And if we understand that we are not this body, we are residing in this body, then we can start our journey to the spiritual world. So if we are attached to the things of this world, if we think that we can get happiness in this world, then we won't be accepted into the spiritual world. Spiritual world is for those who are done with all the material happiness. They want to achieve spiritual happiness. Only those will be given uh, the opportunity to go to the spiritual world. Okay, next slide. So, what is this spiritual mean? So, if somebody asks you, what is spiritual? Then this is the answer you have to give. Spiritual is Sat Chit Ananda. Sat means eternal. There's no beginning or end. Chit means you're full of knowledge. And Ananda means you're full of happiness or bliss. So this is the nature of Krishna, Satchidananda. Krishna's body, form, name, qualities, his pastimes are all Satchidananda. There's no beginning or end. It's full of knowledge and it's full of happiness. But our material body is Asat, Achit, and Nirananda. What is Asat? Means it's temporary. Asat. Achit, it's full of ignorance. There's no knowledge. In There's no true knowledge. We learn about something, now it becomes obsolete. You got to learn something new. Earlier, everybody used to listen to music on tape recorders. Now it's like you're streaming music. Uh, Before that, there were CDs to play. So knowledge in this material world is always changing. But the knowledge coming from Bhagavad Gita never changes. These verses in Bhagavad Gita, nobody has even changed a syllable of what Krishna said in Bhagavad Gita. The Sanskrit has been there from 5,000 years back, and not even a single verse is wrong if you look at it today. If you take any material literature, it has to be revised. There's new versions coming out. But these 700 verses, even today, there is not a single aspect of these verses that has been proved wrong or that needs to be updated to keep up with the times, because this is spiritual knowledge. It is Sat Chit Ananda. And whatever in the material world is Asat, Achit, and Nirananda, because Nirananda means it is misery. Because anything we just focus on in the material world, it cannot bring us true happiness. You think you get some so-called happiness, but Acharya says it is like you are you are being pushed into the water and you are suffocated. You want a gasp of air, and the person who is pushing you underwater brings you out for a second, and you take a breath and you feel, oh, this is bliss. So any happiness you get in this material world is just a lack of suffering. It's not true happiness. And those who taste the true happiness, they tell you that you can get true happiness only by being a spiritual person, not by being a seeking material happiness. So what is the most important is you have to remember Krishna at the time of death. Because whatever you think about when you're leaving this body is what you want to become. And we read about Puranjan, story of Puranjan said by Narada Muni to Prachina Barhi. If you remember, this Puranjan, he's so devoted to his wife and always just being with his wife all the time. So this Puranjan in his next life, when he was dying, he was thinking about his wife. So he became Puranjani. So any person who is just attached will become that gender in the next life. So if a man is always thinking about a woman, he'll become a woman in the next life. So it'll just cycle will just continue. So what you think about at the time of you leaving the body is very, very important. And you can only think about the right thing about God when you're leaving the body if you, at this young age, start your spiritual journey. You're always, trying to serve the Lord with any of your activities. So only then you can have God in your mind when you're leaving your body. So you have to practice all throughout your life. It's just like your final examination. So those in all of you are in Tennessee, and all of you have your TCAP exams coming up. So do you think you can do well in your exam if you just study on your last day before the exam? You say, I'm just study for an hour. That's what all human beings are saying. They're like, let me enjoy material life now. And then at the time of death, I'll just think about the God, and I'll get by. But that's not going to happen because your entire life, what you take in is what will come into your memory. All the samskaras and impressions, everything you see, all the sights you see are going into your mind and senses, and that's what will be remembered. So that's why we want to spend most of our time where we are doing good things, and only the good samskaras will come out at the time of the examination. So similarly, like when you are studying for your exams, if you're reading your textbooks, but if you're just spending your time playing video games, when you're writing your test, those you what you have to write will not come to your mind. Oh, how completed a level in your video game is what will come to your mind, and you cannot do well in your test. So, um, so very, very steady um, progress is what will get you the goal. So that is about an examination in your school, but the greatest examination is when you're leaving the body. Are you prepared? So it's only a life of preparation can make you do the right thing in your final examination, which is leaving the body. And there's a verse that tells us about it in Bhagavad Gita, and we learn it while we go through chapter 8. Antakale cha mam evam smaran muktva kalevaram yat prayati sa madbhavam yat nasti atra samasya. So the translation, and whoever at the end of their life quits his body, remembering me alone, at once attains my nature. Of this, there's no doubt. So Krishna is giving the guarantee. If we think about the Lord at the time of death, then we will go back to him. So his nature is his spiritual world, where there's no sadness. So we need to hanker for it, want it, because most people, they're always thinking about uh, you know their property, their grandkids, or what happened to that court case. Will I win it? So in that thought, they die. So then they have to come back to this material world. So how can we inculcate the thinking about the Lord for the final examination? And that is what we are going to learn from this great literature called Bhagavad Gita. So there are three kinds of spiritualists. We discussed that. So there are Brahmavadis, Paramatmavadis, and real devotees. So So these Brahmavadis are the ones like the impersonalists, Mayavadis who wants to merge with the energy of the Lord. So they are Brahmavadis. They only think about God as energy. They don't think about God as a person. Then Paramatmavadis, they understand God God's personality. They just think about Paramatma in the heart, and so they have the knowledge that God is present in the heart, but they're not wanting to build a relationship with the Lord. They know God is there. They just mm, through knowledge they know God is there, and uh, there is no personal relationship. They don't believe in all the wonderful leelas of the Lord, how the Lord um, killed Putana, or how he plays with his friends. They don't care about all that. The Paramatmavadis are just thinking, yes, there's God, there's me. So there's no relationship building. And those are the devotees who think of Lord as a personality. It's like Arjun, when he saw the Virat Rupa of the Lord, he saw the energy, the external energy of the Lord, and how all the warriors were dying and going into the Vishwarupa. And he said, "Oh Lord, I'm only interested in your two-handed form because you are my friend and my guru, and I just want to interact with you as a person. I don't want to, see the devouring energy of you." Um, so that is the devotee. So that is the greatest understanding, and Krishna prefers this relationship building, and this path of bhakti yoga is the greatest path to the Lord. So that's and then lower than that are the most 99% of the people in this world are in this materialists. That is um, so the worst form of people are always criminals or terrorists. They're doing bad things. Then a step above that is people who follow the rules, and they're doing their job, getting the money, and they're spending, and they're taking care of their family. So that's the next level. The higher level than that is they are getting the money, they're giving it in charity. They have good causes they send their money to, and all the good karma they get from that will elevate them to the heavenly planets. So, in most other religions, they talk about heaven and hell, but only in the true understanding, we understand that even heaven and hell is in the material world. It is not the spiritual world. So that those are the materialists. They go to heavenly planets or hellish planets based on good activities or bad activities they do. But the devotees, they want to focus on spiritual activities that doesn't give good karma or bad karma. It's called akarma, which is transcendental, which is above the three modes. So this is a very important concept that you don't learn in most studies or schools. Only from Bhagavad Gita you can understand that only spiritual activities will get you to the Vaikuntha or the spiritual world. Otherwise, you are in the material world when you are acting away from God. So, for materialists, they don't really care about God. They just care about work. They say work is worship, but what we want to do is work as a form of worship. So even devotees eat, sleep, they have children, all that, but the only thing is the difference is their mindset is different, their mood is different. They're doing it for Krishna. Others are doing for themselves, or to try to get happiness from their body is what they're doing. So this is a very important distinction. All of you need to be very clear on what is material, what is spiritual, and who are the materialists and who are the spiritualists. We spoke about three type of spiritualists, and the Brahmavadis, the Paramatmavadis, and the Bhagavanvadis. And the Bhagavanvadis are the highest, because those are the devotees of the Lord. And this superior energy or the spiritual energy is also called para because it is permanent, and apara is material. Okay, any questions on this slide? Oh, it looks like we are running out of time. Let's quickly complete. So, how does Bhagavad Gita help us? This purpose of Vedic knowledge is to transfer us from the material conception of life to the spiritual conception of life. In material conception, you're always reading the regular news, magazine, novels, TV, internet. You're watching the different material aspects of life. But what we need to do is we need to inculcate reading the Vedas, Puranas, the Mahabharata, and all the essence of all this is Bhagavad Gita that we are going to go learn from next class. So it's very important that we focus on the manual of life so that we understand the difference between material and spiritual, because for millions of lifetime we have just been doing material activities. So this life is a great opportunity we have to at least start our spiritual journey so that we can one day go back home, back to Godhead. So these literatures we already discussed. It has been compiled by Vyasadeva and other sages, and only by learning Bhagavad Gita and becoming a spiritual personality, you can remember the Lord at the time of death. And so this is what Krishna advises Arjuna: always think of Krishna, his form, and carry out your duties as a service to the Lord. It's dedicated to Krishna. So mind and intelligence needs to be fixed in Krishna. So everybody in this world has to work because everybody has a duty to do. As a family man, I have to work to make money so that I can take care of my family's needs of having food, having good education. All that is required. So that's how the division of society comes in. There's Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, and Sudra. And we learned about this in multiple times in Srimad Bhagavatam and our previous discussions. The only difference is for a spiritualist is also they can be in any of these four social orders, but they are always remembering the Lord. So that's the difference. And how can you remember the Lord? You need to have great faith. You shouldn't have a wishy-washy faith that, oh, I have an exam, so I'm just praying and going to write the exam. So after the exam, oh, I don't care about God. So that is a very, very beginning stage. But you need to have faith that you're always thinking about Lord, even when you have good times or bad times, and then you abide in the Lord. You follow His instructions in Bhagavad Gita. You think of the Lord, and then you develop transcendental love. And with that, when you serve, you have reached the topmost stage. So then you can go back home, back to Godhead. So you develop strong sense of love. And a mundane example we can have is a woman married to a man is devoted to the man. So similarly, we need to be married to Krishna. We are always thinking about Krishna and doing everything for Krishna. Srimad Bhagavad, so Bhagavad Gita also tells us about how do we work? Are we working to satisfy our body and our senses, or are we focused on our mind and intelligence on in Krishna consciousness? So if we engage our mind and intelligence in Krishna, automatically the body and senses will also be in aligned in the right way, because greater than the mind is intelligence. So if we are always thinking in the bodily way, oh, I just thinking about what is tasty for me, so I'm running after that. So that's the body thing, body and senses. But when you think about the mind, oh, let me do something, make something for the Lord, So, and you use your intelligence to make a nice recipe for the Lord, and then eat the remnants of that. So you're eating, but you're actually eating the remnants of what you gave the Lord. So then it becomes spiritual. So that's how you can convert everything to spiritual. We already know about the nine process of bhakti: Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, Pada Sevanam, Archanam, Mandanam, Dasyam, Sakyam, Atma Nivedanam. And this, you know all the meanings of each of these. Okay, Shreya and Shriyari are raising the hand. I think they know the mantra for this. Yes, please go ahead.
श्रवणं कीर्तनं विष्णोर्स्मरणं पादसेवनम् अर्चनं वन्दनं ध्यास्यं साक्ष्यम् आत्मनिवेदनम्. Prabhuji, I think I forgot, but I know it.
Yes, very good. Yeah.
Another one,
And do you
and
know
another
who
Bhagavad
said this?
Gita is from the first slide. It was written um it started with N. I was just having it in
Oh,
mind.
Nirmana Moha
Yeah,
Ajita.
Disanga Adhyatmanitryani Nivritta Kama Dvander Vimukta Sukha Dukkha Sanjay Gachantya Muda Parama Vyayam Tat.
Hari Bol, this is from the 15th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. We'll be learning that. So wonderful that you know that. That's a very important verse. And that's the essence of what we are learning today. Hari Bol. So, hearing, chanting, remembering, serving the Lord's lotus feet, deity worship, praying, executing orders, friendship, and complete surrender. And we know who are the acharyas of each of these, right? Parikshit Maharaj is the greatest at hearing. The last 7 days of his life, he focused on hearing. Sukadeva Goswami is the acharya for chanting, glorifying, because he narrated the Srimad Bhagavatam to Parikshit Maharaj. And then who is the best at remembering? Prahlad, who's thinking about the Lord at all circumstances, even when he was thrown into a pit of snakes or thrown from a cliff. The Lord, Prahlad was always remembering the Lord. The Lord protected him. Serving the Lord's lotus feet, Mother Lakshmi is the topmost. She's always seen at the feet of the Lord, massaging his lotus feet and serving him. Deity worship, Maharaj Prithu. We learned from Srimad Bhagavatam how Prithu Maharaj was wonderful at worship. And then Akrura, who came to Vrindavan to take Krishna to Kamsa, he's the Acharya for prayer. He had such wonderful prayers. He was just falling on the ground when he saw the footprints of Krishna, and he was praying. And then Hanuman, no, not a, you cannot find another devotee who is fully in as a servant of the Lord, and so is executing orders. Whatever the Lord says, he goes. He jumped over the ocean, even though initially he thought he didn't have the skill to do that. He did it. And then Arjuna, as a friend of the Lord, and Bali Maharaj, we know, surrendered his head to the Lord when there was no more steps available that the Lord, so he gave himself to the Lord. And do you know who is the personality who did all of these really well?
Ambrisha Maharaj.
Yes, very good. So Ambarish Maharaj did uh, all these nine processes. Yes, it's written here. Very good. So we'll learn about Ambarish Maharaj. We have learned about Ambarish Maharaj in Srimad Bhagavatam. As you can see, he's touching the feet of his spiritual master. He's giving nice fragrance to the Lord and then smelling that. He only tastes prasadam. He uses his legs for visiting temples. Um, so, so temple worship, he bowing down, vandanam, he's doing with his head, and in his mind, smaranam, he's always thinking about the Lord and describing with his words. And so So he did all of these, so we can follow Ambarish Maharaj and follow all these processes of bhakti. And out of these 9 processes, the 3 main are Shravanam, Kirtanam, and Smaranam. So you can hear, you can chant, and when you chant, you can think about the Lord. So then this the topmost. And Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati has given a different ways, with different levels of Smaranam. Okay, with that, we'll conclude the introduction. This is the essence of Srimad Bhagavad Gita. And now we can go to the Kahoot quiz. Are there any questions?
No, Prabhuji.
Okay. So please take the device that you want to use for your Kahoot. And let's remember what we listened to today. Okay. The pin is 741180. It's 741180. Hey, Nitin ji, Krishna devotee, Bhakta, I'm thinking is Shreya ji, and Sri Hari ji has joined, so we can get started. Oh, did you join, Shreya ji? Okay, okay. Okay, the 12th question. What is our true identity? Human being, Indian, educated scholar, soul that is servant of Krishna. So what is our true identity? Yes, we are the spirit soul. Okay. What is Sanatana Dharma? It's the eternal path. It's changing rules for certain castes, rules for certain ages. Yes, it's an eternal.
I know the answer, but
Yes. So Sanatana Dharma, like everybody says, what's your religion? So you just say, I follow Sanatana Dharma because that's our true nature of what we need to follow. Okay. Shreyaji is in first place. What does material consciousness mean? Thinking oneself to be the body, thinking oneself as the clothes they wear, thinking of oneself to be the degrees one secures, all of the above. Yes, it's all of the above. Some people, they are all about just wearing good clothes and they think, yeah, they are the clothes they wear. And some people think they are the body. Some people think, oh, I'm a doctor, I'm an engineer. I'm only going to, think of myself as that. What degrees you got with your education. So that's not your true self. You are the eternal servant of the Lord. Okay. Nature of the soul is Satchit Ananda, no beginning or end, full of knowledge, full of happiness or bliss. True or false? Yes, true is the right answer. So the soul is Satchit Ananda. And Krishna is also Satchit Ananda. That's why we are qualitatively similar, quantitatively different. Because we have knowledge about ourselves, Krishna's knowledge about everybody. Okay. Fifth question. Bodily conception of life is Asat, Achit, Nirananda, or all of the above? Yes, it's all of the above. So just like Sat Chit Ananda, you add a R to that. Asat means it is not, it has a beginning and end. Achit means it's ignorant. Nirananda means it's not Ananda, it's Nirananda, it's misery. Okay, true or false? Whatever a person thinks about at the time of death, one attains in the next life. True or false? Yes, it is true. Because whatever you think is because at the time of death is the final examination.
Wait,
You know,
didn't you say that, like, an example would be if you study last minute, then you wouldn't get good scores on exams, so
mhm.
it doesn't. So, like, it does matter, but it's not exactly what determines.
Yeah, because if you study in the last minute, you might say you'll study, but you may not study much. And then at the time, you'll just think about something else. So whatever happens, even Ajamil's story, he did bad things, but then he called his son Narayan, but the Lord gave him another chance because of that. Because what you think at the time of death is what gets you to the next life, determines the body you get. Okay. What is the purpose of Vedic literature? Transforms one from material to spiritual consciousness, become scholars and become famous. It's a time pass, all of the above. Yes.
Look,
So,
I clicked the wrong answer, Babuji. I know the answer, it's just I clicked it.
oh, that's okay. It's all about knowing the right answer and learning. So sometimes when you see all of the above, you just click that to be fast. This time I just tricked. Okay. How to work as worship. Faith in Krishna, follow Krishna's instructions, think of and serve Krishna with love, all of the above. Yes, this time all of the above is the right answer. So, there are some karmis who are in Karma Kanta, the materialists. You ask them, oh, do you know Gita? They'll say, yes, yes, I know Gita. Work is worship. They'll just say that. They say, oh, just work hard and party hard. So, so they have their own conception of Bhagavad Gita. So it is work as worship. You have to do any work as a worship. Work itself is not worship.
Prabhuji,
Yes.
my mom is Bhakta.
Yeah. Yes.
I
She's a devotee. Very good.
I'm the wolf in fifth place. Adu Gadu.
Okay. Subtle body consists of mind, intelligence, and false ego. True or false? So gross is what you can see, touch, feel. The subtle body is the mind, intelligence, and ego. That's also material, actually. Okay. 10th question. By engaging in Krishna consciousness, soul may control the senses, mind, intelligence, but we may still fall because of lack of intelligence. Krishna doesn't help. Disrespecting devotees or Vaishnava aparadha, lack of knowledge. So this is for a person in Krishna consciousness who's a devotee. But if you see that they're going in the wrong way, it is because they disrespected other devotees or Vaishnavas. They did some bad things for those devotees, and hence they fall down from their right path. So Vaishnava Aparada is the reason they do that. For karmis, if you think they're going to the hellish planets, it's because of their karma. Okay, Nitinji has gone up one place. Okay, if you fix your mind upon Lord Krishna and engage your intelligence in him, you will live in him always without a doubt, true or false. Yes, so that's why mind and intelligence is more important than body and senses, because the mind is higher than the body and senses. So whatever the mind says, the body can do. So just like in during Ekadashi, I try to fast. So my body is telling, oh, go grab some food and eat it now. You're hungry, go eat, go eat. But the mind will say, oh, today is Ekadashi, I shouldn't eat. So even though the body keeps saying, eat, 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 the mind can say, don't eat today, you're fasting today. Out of the 9 processes of bhakti, which is the most important? Smaranam, Kirtanam, Shravanam, all of the above. Yeah, it's all of the above. We mentioned out of the 9 processes of bhakti, the first 3 are the most important. Shravanam, Kirtanam, Smaranam. Okay, let's see who's on the podium. Third place goes to Bhakta. Second place goes to Shreyaji. And first place goes to Krishna devotee. That's Ayan. And fourth place goes to Nitinji and Narahari. Okay, all of you are winners. Pancha kalpata rupascha kripa sindhu evacha patitanam pavanepyo vaishnavepyo namo namaha. Aneka koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai. Hare Krishna. Wonderful Krishna conscious week. Talk to you next week. Hari Bol.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, remembrance and forgetfulness is all again blessing or blessing from Krishna. So I had this question for a long time, so I wanted to check with you. So here, throughout his life, although in the beginning of his life, Ajamila does lots of austerities, but then in the middle he goes astray and commits so many mistakes and sins. But
Yes.
at the end, was it some kind of a mercy that he could name his son Narayana, and then he was so loving towards his son, and then he uttered his name, and then that brought him that gave him a second chance. So is that also a part of Lord's mercy? Should we take
Yes.
that?
Yes, yeah, I heard this that actually there were some devotees who came when his 10th son was born, Narayan was born, and they told him to name the child Narayan. So it is actually his all the suhriti he got from his previous activities. So even though he went into very bad activities during his life, so marrying the prostitute and having kids and like cheating others, not taking care of parents, and all those things he did. Even though he did that, he still got the mercy of the acharyas who he surrendered to took their instructions to name the son Narayan. So it's the mercy of the Guru that gave him a second chance. It's something I heard. This is not in Bhagavatam, but it is. A devotee told me that is the reason, because he took the instructions of the gurus. He got the mercy to get another chance.
Definitely, Prabhuji. That's why even a moment's association with the pure devotee will transform your life. That's right.
Yes, Mataji. Really
Thank you
appreciate.
so much, Prabhuji.
And thank you, Mataji. Amazing, very nice question. Thank you for. Now I can also remember what I heard. Thank you so much, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.